Hey there everybody, what's going on? James here, and we are back with a finishing the year video. We're going to be talking about the state of the collection at the end of 2025, and it has been an adventurous year for sure with watch collecting. And I'm really happy with where I'm at right now, and honestly think it will probably be this way for a while. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. So thanks for stopping by the channel. If this is your first time here, please do like the video if you enjoy this type of content, and subscribe because I post every week, so you can expect these typically every weekend. And I'm really big on you getting out of watches whatever it is that you want to get out of watches. And I want you to know and love the watches you already have and be a satisfied watch collector. So let's jump into it. To start off, we'll just go in order here, and you may have heard some of the stories if you watched my videos before, but the Sky-Dweller was my very first watch. I got this back in 2020 at the earlier in the year. This was my 30th birthday gift to myself, and just kind of marked that milestone for me of really kind of accomplishing some of the career milestones that I had wanted, and some personal ones, honestly, that were really big for me as well. So this was the first one, and I had watches before. I had owned Movados, several different ones, and really enjoyed those, and decided to kind of get more serious into the space. And this was the first piece that I ended up getting, just for a lot of reasons. I love the design, I love the aesthetic, I love the functionality, the travel ability, just everything about it pretty much checked the boxes for me, and I really found it to be beautiful. I still think it's one of the most beautiful Rolexes in the catalog, and obviously it has a kind of a special significance for me. So that was the Rolex early on. Then I don't actually have a few of the watches that I had after that. So I got a Yachtmaster 2, which I actually really loved. And I also got an Omega 38 millimeter Aquaterra. And for various reasons, those found their way out of the collection. I also had a Jaeger-LeCoultre Master Ultra Thin Moon, and that was kind of what started me down the path to this next piece, which is the Jaeger-LeCoultre Master Ultra Thin Perpetual Enamel, which was a limited edition that they released as a trio in 2019. Originally, I was after the Master Ultra Thin Moon version of this watch because I really liked it, having had the black dial version of it. And the one that I came across first, because these were limited edition, and obviously I was not going to be finding my way into one of those anytime soon, Perpetual Calendar was the first version that I came across and jumped at the chance. So I ended up actually trading in the original JLC that I had. I had a Grand Seiko Night Birch that I also really liked. I ended up trading that, traded my Yachtmaster 2, and traded in the Aquaterra that I had at that point, which I believe was I want to say it might have been the day date version, to get this piece. So just to give you a sense of just the level of epicness, with the dial here. The back is pretty much their standard for all their Master Ultra Thins, but it's more so the dial, obviously, on that piece that is really special. And again, that watch was something that I fell in love with JLC early. Like, it was one of the first few brands that I actually ran across in the luxury space, and I really just appreciate so much about the heritage and the history and the design. And so I knew that I wanted a JLC in the collection, and so I think this is just kind of the final form that it's taken in my collection. Next came the Dan Royter DR-02, part of a watch group, the Talking Time with Tim Masso watch group. Y'all may know Tim Masso. I mean, he's been with the Watchbox and Watch You Want before that, and now the 1916 Company. Just probably one of the most brilliant encyclopedias of information about watches in the industry, and certainly had an impact on my journey along the way. And so being a part of his group and him working with Dan, having an opportunity to grab one of these when they were available, and you can see it engraved on the back there, Talking Time with Tim Masso, 21 of 25. So if you've not heard of Dan Royter, he does make amazing watches. And not only that, but it's the coolest thing about this watch is the relationship that I've kind of built with Dan, and went through cancer a couple of years ago, and this was kind of the at the end of that whole rigmarole and process, ended up getting this watch. So that's always going to be a memory for me of overcoming the battle with cancer and moving on with life, really, and kind of having a fresh start. So that was the DR-02. Now, I already mentioned I had a Grand Seiko Night Birch in the collection originally, and then I traded it, and I always loved Grand Seiko. I got, kind of down the rabbit hole of the heritage and the nature-inspired dials and the technology that goes into these, and the polishing. I mean, there's so many things to love about Grand Seiko. I do still think if you are just getting into watches, I think Grand Seiko is probably your best bet. Between that and Omega, I would say are my top two picks. And so, I knew I wanted a Grand Seiko back in the collection. I even had a Crador, kind of a quartz, thermocompensated quartz Crador for a little while. And it kind of scratched the itch, but it wasn't the same, having had the Night Birch and loving that piece. So I sought this one out specifically because, again, my theme of the collection kind of changed and shifted after getting the JLC, and I really started to commit to blue here. And so then when I was looking for the Grand Seiko to fill that spot in my collection, I ended up finding this one. It's the SLGA017, which is it's basically a limited edition for it's the AJHH Association in Japan. So you can't buy them in the States, which is why, sorry, it's a little dirty, but that's one of the reasons why I wanted this watch, is just because limited edition. I love the Skyflake dial actually, but I just hate the power reserve. So with this one, you get the power reserve on the back, you get this nice clean look, and the Evolution 9 style case. So that was actually earlier this year. So there've been quite a few movements, I guess, in 2025, because I ended up selling the Crador and actually selling another Omega. I'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, so that was what led to the Grand Seiko. Then came Girard-Perregaux, and again, I really love this piece. I continue to love this piece. It's just incredible. Very different in terms of dial, but it still falls into the blue category, and that's why it is in the collection. So, I had heard of GP, seen some of GP, primarily the Laureato. I didn't even realize that they had dress watches, honestly. I hadn't really seen them. There was someone in the watch group, actually, that had a dressier style Girard-Perregaux. And then when I found the Aventurine dial version, that was when I knew that I wanted to make it a part of the collection. Because I had seen the Little Longa a couple years ago at a boutique, and the Aventurine just blew me away, and so I was like, man, I would love to get something with Aventurine. And so I started going down the rabbit hole of GP, and ended up finding this one earlier in the year. So that was a little bit of not quite a departure from blue. I mean, it still is blue, but that's probably the closest that I'll get to having a non-blue dial. Again, I did have a JLC that was a black dial, but this is kind of pushing the boundary for me, and I'm really, really happy with the way it turned out. If you've not looked at Girard-Perregaux's dress watches and you've only seen Laureato, definitely take a look, because they are fantastic. So then, capping out the year, this is a very recent acquisition that you may have seen or may not if you follow my other social media, but this is the Omega Seamaster Ploprof 1200 meter summer blue. And this one was it's been a long time coming, I think, because I've had several Aquaterras. Again, for various reasons, I've traded them or sold them every single time, at various points. And I kind of was looking for, okay, I want an Omega in the collection. I love the accuracy. I love the versatility of Omega. And, just kind of the association to sports, because I really do appreciate that. So I knew that I wanted something from them in my collection, kind of like Grand Seiko, but I just wasn't sure what. And then when I started to go down the rabbit hole of the Ploprof a bit, and the other models, though I liked them, were just kind of big for me. And so then I ended up finding this, and got a great deal on this one. So very happy with how it turned out. It was a little sad because my wrists are super tiny, and so initially the rubber strap that it came with, as well as the shark mesh bracelet, just were too big. Like, I had to literally resize them, and the rubber strap they don't have any other version of. The shark mesh bracelet I had to actually cut links out of to get it to fit me. So that's the struggle of having very small wrists in this hobby, but that is where I'm at. So ended up finding this kind of neat, very inexpensive actually aftermarket strap, and it kind of works with the color scheme of the watch, just a navy blue. And then, like I say, I do have the shark mesh as well that I did size for myself. So this is the most recent acquisition. So, after 5+ years, kind of 5 full years, and realistically longer of collecting, I do think the biggest things I would say are it is a journey. It evolves. Again, the blue dial theme was an evolution that kind of came along with the JLC here. And I'm really, really happy with where I'm at with the collection. And just with, some personal things I have coming up in the next year and a half, I know I'm going to be allocating my resources elsewhere, most likely. So this will probably stay the 6-piece rotation for a while. And that's just going to be okay, and I don't know where I'll expand from here. There's a couple, like there's a Grail piece or two. There's maybe one other watch that I'm really interested in and looking at, which would be a Vacheron Constantin Quai de Lille in blue. I really like that watch, so I may add that at some point. And then I really have been into Grunefeld recently, and they just make such incredible stuff. So a 1941 Principia would be awesome. A Decennium Tourbillon would be even more awesome, like Grail level stuff. So we'll see where the journey takes us. But that is my watch collection for the end of 2025. So again, please like the video if you enjoy this type of content. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see these types of posts every week. And I appreciate you for coming by. Again, my goal for you is that you get out of watches, whatever it is that you want to get out of watches, so you can know and love what you have and be a satisfied watch collector. So thank you for stopping by, and I will talk to you next time. Bye-bye.